It's not that complex. Disease is energetic imbalance. Health is energetic balance. This is what people get killed for sharing, because it takes a lot of money and power away from the medical system.
Right now we have a monopoly in the West with the medical system really controlling what people have access to.
There are people with interests.
I am here today with Jason Shurka, world-renowned author of 5 books, producer, entrepreneur, and founder of Unified TV and Unified Healing. I have invited him here today to talk specifically about the energy enhancement system technology.
What is it about this that caused you to dedicate your life's work to it?
I could show you all the science I want. I could tell you how it works. Who cares? Does it translate? You cannot fake tens of thousands of people coming with videos from all around the world. We found a 4.5 centimeter tumor in his neck. He slept in the technology for 3 nights. After 72 hours, it was gone. Doctors didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to do.
What do you think is necessary for us to transform the earth as quickly and painlessly as possible?
Don't be afraid to die. If you want to change the world in the level that it's at right now, there are risks involved. How do we get as many people to be able to heal themselves in an affordable and accessible way?
Jason, welcome to my podcast. Could you give us the elevator pitch for who you are? What is your passion? What is your work all about for people who aren't familiar?
The elevator pitch. That's a good question. I do a lot of different things. But I would say right now, what's probably most relevant for this, I'm an author, I'm a producer, I'm an investor, I'm a creator, I am a son, I'm a brother, I'm all those things. And then I'm me. So my 2 main projects right now are Unified Healing and Unified TV. So it's all under what we call the Unified World Organization. My passion is how do we unify the world, because I think that there's a lot of divide and conquer going on. And if we work together, we can create a lot of magic together. So Unified TV does that through conscious media. So raising awareness through TV shows, documentaries, movies, interviews. And Unified Healing does that more in the health and wellness aspect and sector of things through a network of, at this point, about 500 wellness centers around the world that all use a technology called the Energy Enhancement System technology. And we are now in over 50 countries. So that's the passion of how do we help people heal themselves? Because if you live a healthy life, everything else kind of falls into place.
Right. The physical and the spiritual are so intertwined. Actually, they're one and the same thing. But I love how you're coming at it from both angles here.
Totally.
So tell us a little bit more about your personal journey and your spiritual awakening and the pivotal moments in your life that led you here.
I would say the main one, and this doesn't make me special because we all have our own form of this and story of one way or another hitting rock bottom in our own way and then choosing to make a change because it couldn't get worse from there. Or at least we think it couldn't get worse and we don't want it to get worse because we're exhausted from the pain. So we make a change. So for me, it happened through a series of injuries, physical injuries to my body. It was a period of 4 years from the age of 14 to 18 years old, about 19 years old. I dislocated my left shoulder about 23 times. I got 3 shoulder surgeries. I got a staph infection in my leg that almost killed me. And throughout that period of 4 years, I kept having to go to the hospital and have time with myself in presence to spend time with myself in a hospital bed. And I kept asking myself, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And about 4 to 5 years into all these injuries, suddenly I woke up and there was a change in the word of the question that I was asking. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? I asked, why is this happening for me? How could this be happening for me? And that's when everything changed, because the things that were happening to me, I understood were happening for me. They were lessons that I had to learn. And the second you learn a lesson, the second you receive the gift that the creator, that God, that source, that the divine, that whatever you want to call it, is giving you, if you receive it and you learn the lesson, you don't have to take the test again. I was experiencing this repetitive theme and this repetition of tests coming over and over and over again until I decided to make a change because that was my form of rock bottom. Now, that exists for everybody. We all have repetitive themes in our lives. There are many 70-year-olds today that are still dealing with repetitive themes from when they were 20. So are they really 70? And the answer is yes and no. Physically, yes. Spiritually, no. It's spiritual development that I look at when understanding somebody's age in terms of their development. And that's kind of what I understood through that journey of those injuries that brought me to want to make a change and start seeing the world in a different way.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. It sounds like a really difficult thing to go through. But isn't it interesting how you mentioned that you went through it for 4 to 5 years before your perspective changed on it? And I think that's so common where we go through some kind of a struggle in our life and are asking the universe or God, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And feeling so frustrated. And then you have that moment where you can see something that you just couldn't see before and everything changes.
Totally. That's exactly how it happened.
All right. Well, let's dive into the EE system. Let me ask you, first of all, what is the EE system and the Unified Healing Network? We'll get to that, but let's start with the EE system in as much detail as you want to go into. What is it and how does it work?
So it's a wellness technology. I heard about it for the first time about 2.5 years ago. My aunt actually had a 13.5 centimeter cystic fibroid in her uterus. And the doctors were telling her, you have to go get surgery and this, and scaring the hell out of her. And my family likes the alternative route first. We do believe in Western medicine, but as a last resort, if needed. So we heard about this technology. My family sent my aunt to go and experience it. And in 4 hours, everything was gone. And she's like, that happened. Then me, the skeptic, was like, maybe placebo, maybe it's the power of thought. How do I know that technology actually can do what people are telling me that it can do? And then within a period of a day or two, my sister's little dog, her toy poodle, 7 to 8 pounds, 6 pounds, maybe, whatever. He got, we found a 4 centimeter tumor in his neck, 4.5 centimeter tumor in his neck. And we said, okay, maybe we have to do surgery. But then we said, if it happened to my aunt, let's send him to the technology as well and see what happens with the EE system. He slept in the technology for 3 nights. It's a room with these big screens and monitors and cool looking things, but things that wouldn't make sense to the common layman. And in 3 nights, after 72 hours, it was gone. Technically after 30 hours, because he slept in there 10 hours a night for 3 days in a row. So at that point, I looked and I said, okay, I can't say placebo anymore because it's happening to a dog. So I started looking deeper into it. And I said, are there other stories that are going on? And I started seeing tons of them. And I really, really couldn't believe my eyes. It was crazy with what I was seeing. At that point, I went and interviewed the inventor of this technology. Her name is Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. She's the inventor of the energy enhancement system technology. And that's where everything really started. In short, it's a technology that works through energy, frequency, and vibration using multiple different modalities, one being the movement of light. So think color therapy as well, in addition to other modalities, to ultimately help the body heal itself. And that's the most important thing here. The body is always trying to heal itself. Are you giving the body the proper tools that it needs to do so? If you're not, it will not. If you are, it will. But it's not the technology that's healing you. Your body is healing itself. The technology is giving the proper environment to help the body do so.
Okay, so one question I was going to ask you that you sort of already answered is why this specific technology? Because there are so many different energy healing devices and technology out there, and I hear about them all the time because people will email me, can you interview me about this or that? And so my question is, how do you know if something is legitimate, and what is it about this that caused you to dedicate your life's work to it? And you answered that already by saying you had personal experience with it. Is there anything else that convinced you?
Two-factored answer here.
There's only one book that I can say I've read from cover to cover in one day, and it's this one, Robin Aisha Lansong's Loving Bravely. I listened to the audiobook version and I could not turn it off. It is the most beautiful story of healing from intense childhood trauma. A survivor of the Rhodesian War in Africa, Robin weaves together the hells that she experienced along with the heavens of her multiple near-death and out-of-body experiences to tell a heart-wrenchingly beautiful story of what it is to be human, what it is to heal, and what it is to become a healer. She weaves beautiful soundtracks of the medicine singing she learned from her African mama into her audiobook, and she incorporates her beautiful, inspired artwork into the hard copy. Get your copy today. It's available now in audiobook and will come available in soft and hardcover throughout the month. Check the description, pinned comment, or right here for the link.
Number one, how do I know it's legitimate? I always pay attention to the fruits of something's labor, what actually comes out of it, not what somebody's going to tell me about it. I don't care how you can explain the science. Does it translate in reality? At the end of the day, it translates into reality. That's the only thing that I care about. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm a human with eyes. And I can see that it's literally making changes in many people around the world. So that's number one when it comes to why I took it as something that was legitimate, because I saw the actual consequences of what it's doing, the implications of what it's doing in real life and not just in philosophy. Number two, why this technology and not others? First of all, there are many incredible technologies out there. There are many technologies that I've used myself as well. The reason why I advocate for this one specifically is not because it's better than another one, but because it is able to work on many people at the same time. So there are incredible technologies that you can use on a one-on-one basis that work in different ways where you tune specific frequencies against specific ailments. That's Dr. Reif technology. It's a little different than what this technology is. So what I love about this is it's not working one-on-one with a person because there's 8 billion people on this planet and many people are sick. We need something that can work in the masses, with the masses. And this is the closest thing that I can find that can do that.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because when you think about it, you can put, like, how many units can you put in a space?
So there are people that have now up to 48 units in a space. I think there's some that have even more than that. The more units, the stronger. Stronger does not necessarily mean better. The units range from 4 units to 8 units to 12 units to 16 to 20 to 24 to 48. And then technically, I guess you can go to 96. I haven't seen that one yet. The 48 is the biggest one that I've seen and experienced myself. And again, the bigger it goes, the stronger it is. However, even with a 24 unit system, you could put it in an entire stadium. It will cover an entire stadium. That's something important to keep in mind. That's why I love this so much, because it works on the masses.
Right. Yeah. And I can confirm that just from my own personal experience. I have an EE system near me, a few miles from where I live. And when you drive out and you start getting in the vicinity of it, at least I can feel it. I can feel the effects of it.
That's awesome. What do you feel?
I'm very energy sensitive. So, like, for instance, when I go into a store or a building, I can feel the energy of that building. And I can feel, like, the intentions and the energy that was behind building it and the actions that happened there. When I go out into nature, I can feel the energy of the earth. It's like this powerful, uplifting, harmonizing energy. Like, you feel like you're being charged like a battery. And that's what the EE system feels like to me also.
That's awesome. I love that.
And I'll take this opportunity to mention that there's necklaces as well.
Yes,
they put some of the technology in the necklaces, and I've worn one, and I feel like I'm grounded outside when I'm wearing it, even if I'm indoors. So it's incredible.
Yeah, so they call those the medallions, and then they have bracelets as well. And what they do basically is it's called hypercharging the stone, essentially. So stone can store energy, crystals can store energy. We know that scientifically. They have a certain technology that hypercharges, that embeds what we call the toroidal field, which is a balanced field of energy, into I call it technology, but into the crystals, into the stone. So it is that energy that's radiating from that stone that you're wearing and radiating around you.
Right. That's incredible. So let's dive into a little bit of how the technology works.
Okay. So I'm going to make it simple, and then we'll go more into the details. in the most simple way that I can explain it for the common person. Think of the law of synchronization with your environment. What that means is you synchronize with the environment that you're in. So, when you spend time around a sad person or a depressed person, you don't want to be there because you're sad.
Right.
Then when you spend time with a happy person, you love it because you get happy. So it's all about synchronizing with your environment. So other examples I've given many times. Women synchronize their menstrual cycles because they're synchronizing with their environment and thus having a synchronized expression, in this case called the menstrual cycle, or a woman's period. When it comes to sickness, there are many times that they couldn't prove that a sickness was contagious. They proved it through what was called synchronization through this bioenergetic field that we are all synchronizing with simultaneously. So ultimately, the environment that you're in is the environment that you synchronize with. If I put you in an energetically distorted environment, your body will take on distortion. If I put you in an energetically coherent environment like nature, your body will take on coherency. And that's why you feel so good around nature. That's why you feel charged, because a coherent energy field charges you. So to get a little bit deeper, the way that it does that is a two-pronged approach. When you look at the technology, you would see what looks like a computer screen, and behind the screen, you would see what looks like a black box. The black box is called the engine field generator. It's an engine that generates electromagnetic fields, and the goal is to create what we call a toroidal field. It's that field of energy that goes in all directions simultaneously. It's the fundamental building block when it comes to electromagnetic fields and creation as a whole, meaning harmony and health is a toroidal field. A toroidal field is harmony and health. So the question is, how do we create it? Well, simply put, scientifically speaking, if you want to create a toroidal field, you need to take two identical electromagnetic fields, align them precisely, and their merging point will create a toroidal field. So when you go to those centers around the world and you see there's a tower in each corner of the room for the most part, just to keep this simple, they are precisely aligned within 1/100th of an inch. They're laser calibrated and precisely aligned. Those black boxes are all creating identical electromagnetic fields, and the merging point in the center creates the toroidal field. So it's helping you rebalance energetically speaking by helping you synchronize with the toroidal field that it's creating. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. The second part of the technology is the screen. The screen is using frequencies and light within the spectrum that we see, within the spectrum of reality that we experience. So colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. You'll see all those colors coming off of the screen. You'll see the colors moving in a specific way. It's not a random movement. The movement is in alignment with what we call the Fibonacci sequence, which is also something that happens in nature. It's something that was discovered. It wasn't something that was man-made. So it's bringing back the Fibonacci sequence into synchronization with your body, or rather bringing your body back into synchronization with the Fibonacci sequence to help your body take on a more harmonized environment within itself. And then the color itself is actually color therapy. So red light therapy, blue light therapy, green light therapy. It's a combination of all of those things, allowing your body to absorb positive and coherent energies, or in this case, frequencies, because that's what color is, so your body can reharmonize itself. And the last part of it is called photonic collision. So light is made up of photons. When photons collide, they create a charge. When these screens are perfectly aligned to one another and their photons collide, the light of the photons collide, or the photons of light collide in the center of the room, what happens is very interesting. It creates a charge. That charge is the exact charge that your cells need to regenerate themselves. As you sit in a room that is charged to that charge, to that voltage, your cells will synchronize with a charge to help regenerate themselves. And that's why you're seeing the miracles all around the world.
Amazing. Okay, so this works on multiple different levels.
many different levels, multiple different dimensions, seen and unseen, tangible and intangible, physical and spiritual. Another reason why I love this technology, it's not just working on one level. It's working on all dimensions of your being, which essentially are infinite.
Amazing. Following up on that, could I ask you, what exactly is the Fibonacci sequence?
Okay, good question. So in nature, we see certain proportions that are consistent across the board. So the proportions of a flower when it blooms, they call that fractal mathematics. There's a certain proportion between each one of the petals of a flower to the center of the flower, all the way to a tornado and how it spins, all the way to a hurricane and how it spins, all the way to a galaxy and how it spins. All of these things in nature, by the way, even a turtle with its shell, all these things have certain proportions that they call the golden mean or the golden ratio. It's based on the Fibonacci sequence. So it's a series of numbers. And I'll tell you what these numbers are in a second, or what their relationships are, but 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 44, and the cycle continues. The relationship is, if you take the last two numbers and add them up, you'll get the next one. So 0, 0, 0, 0 and 1 is 1, 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 1 is 3, 3 and 2 is 5, 5 and 3 is 8, 8 and 5 is 13, 13, 8, 21, 21, 13, 44, and it keeps going. That sequence of numbers and their proportions to each other, if you put them over each other to understand their ratios to each other, is called the golden ratio. So this is even seen in Leonardo da Vinci's paintings with the Vitruvian Man. It's painted according to the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. The spiral on a snail's shell is the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. So it's all based on that. And again, we see it inherently in nature. And if nature is perfect and balanced, because that's what nature is always trying to do, it's trying to come back into a state of homeostasis, disease is not normal. Health is the only thing that should exist. We've created disease because we're no longer in coherency. We're no longer in alignment. We're no longer in accordance and correlation with the Fibonacci sequence anymore. So it's helping you synchronize with coherency once again.
Okay, thank you. That was really helpful in helping me to visualize and understand what this is. It seems to me like it's probably music also. Like a lot of times when I'm out in nature and I see the patterns that nature is growing in, it really just looks so musical to me. Like this is all a giant orchestra or something. We're bringing our body back into resonance with that.
So music is just a different expression of the all. Sound is a different expression of the all. Color is a different expression of the all. There is a connection between color and music. Music or sound is measured in hertz. Color is measured in nanometers. So let's take yellow, 540 nanometers. Well, if you were to take the color yellow, which is just an energy that we can see, and convert the color yellow, aka 540 nanometers, into hertz, I don't know what the exact number is, but let's assume you will get 432 hertz. That means that music at the sound or frequency of 432 hertz is no different than the color yellow. They're the same exact thing expressed differently. One in visualization, one in what you can hear, another in what you can feel, and so on and so forth. There is no fundamental difference between sound and light, just an expression or just the way that they're expressed.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for explaining that. It's all so interconnected. And this, interestingly, is what a lot of people see in their near-death experiences, because I interview near-death experiencers as well. And they will see, and they'll say things like music and light and color and math and geometry is all the same thing.
And they are. Robert Edward Grant, a good friend of mine, he explains everything from the basis of mathematics, because mathematics is the fundamental of all creation. It's what all creation is based on. It's numbers. And even if you look at, the way that we build our technology, it's all based on ones and zeros, and it can create everything. So it's interesting how that all works. But yes, mathematics is the fundamental of all. And from there, everything comes out of.
All right. Well, let's get back to the technology here. So let's say that somebody visits a center with an EE system. What would that process look like for them?
Generally, the best thing that I always recommend is sleeping there. And people say, what do you mean sleeping there? That's what these centers are built for the most part. It's to sleep there. But generally, you would walk in, you would see all this weird looking, cool looking technology that looks like it's from the future. And essentially, the best thing you can do is be there, spend time there, meditate there, journal there, rest there, nap there, and sleep there. So there are some people that go during the day, they do 2-hour or 3-hour sessions during the day. There are many people that go and do overnights there. Why is overnights better? Why do I like them best? Because I'm lazy and I like doing things without having to exert more energy or effort. What better way to do something like that than while you're sleeping? You can stack it. You know? You can sleep and do this at the same time. That's the most amazing thing I've ever heard. Killing two birds with one stone, as they say. So again, sleeping is the best thing that you can do, because while you're asleep, not only is it good if you don't want to go out of your way to do something during the day, but it's actually more powerful because when you're sleeping, your body's already regenerating itself. This will only enhance that process and make you even more vital throughout that process. But in short, you'll see either beds or very comfortable lounge chairs that you can lay in, sleep in, rest in, read in, do whatever you want in. And it's really an awesome experience across the board, but every center is unique. Every center has a little twist to it. Every center, for the most part, has a different owner. My job and the job of Unified Healing with our team is to raise awareness for these centers around the world to ensure that they're successful, that everybody knows about them, and that ultimately we can take over what I call the medical mafia.
Right. Okay. And we will definitely get more into that. Before we go there, I want to ask you, does the body hold on to the effects of experiencing the EE system after you leave the center, and how long?
That's up to you. It depends on how you choose to live. If you're going to go to McDonald's after a center, no, probably not. If you're going to take your health seriously and you're going to do things and bring that energy with you intentionally in everything that you do, not just in your food, but in your water, in your thoughts and your beliefs and your words and your actions and your relationships, yes, of course, you can recreate that energy on your own as well. But it's up to you. It's up to you on how you choose to live. And again, once we understand that this is a holistic approach, you can't just walk in and expect a miracle. That is a piece of a bigger puzzle. It's an important piece, but you have to take responsibility for your own health on all fronts if you want to see that energy remain a part of you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I could see where somebody could be very, very health conscious, spend a lot of time in nature, and very spiritually minded, and maybe over a course of years be able to raise their frequency to this level. But it sounds like what you're saying, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that this technology is designed to support us in getting there faster, especially with your vision, maybe on a global scale.
Correct. It's about catalyzing the process of where we all want to get to. And ultimately, you can do everything that the technology helps you do. That's the point of this whole thing. It's not to be your destiny. It's to be a stepping stone to get to our collective destiny. And that destiny is one where we can truly heal ourselves without help from the outside. But again, so long as we're living in the world as it is today, so long as our skies are being sprayed, so long as the sun is being dimmed, you're going to need vitamin D. It doesn't mean vitamin D supplements are a part of your destiny, but they could be a stepping stone to get to the point of doing everything that you want to do on your own without external influence or interference. So it's a process that we're going through. How long it takes is up to us.
Right. Okay. So what are the most important things that people can do to support their health and to hold this higher frequency?
Food. Food is the most important thing. Food makes up who you are in this physical vessel. Yes, the spirit and the soul is extremely important, but you cannot even begin to access something like that if you're living in a dirty body that houses those very things. So long as you experience yourself as a physical human being, the physical body should be, in my opinion, the first priority, first and foremost. Once you have that taken care of through food, because that is the sustenance of the body. And when I say food, I'm talking about whole foods, real foods, food with the highest water to matter content ratio. So cucumbers have 97% water. 3% matter. Bread has 70% water and 30% matter. It's a lot more physical. So if you want the body to reach a higher vibration, you're going to have to lower its density, not lower its dimension, but lower how dense the body is and make it more immaterial or intangible, lighter, if you will. So food is, in my opinion, the most important thing. After that, everything that comes along with it. Your journaling, your reading, your breathing, your meditation, you're walking outside, you're walking barefoot, you're sun gazing, you're spending time in the sun because it does not kill you. It's actually the reason why we're alive, and so on and so forth. So it's much simpler than everybody makes it out to be. Everybody comes out with all these complex things. If you have to do these 100 things per day, no, you don't. You need to eat well. You need to not eat a lot. And you need to just be the best you that you can be, treat others well, and live as close to nature as possible. If you could do those things, everything else will take care of themselves. And if you want to make it even simpler, if you simply take care of your digestive tract, everything in your body will be taken care of. That is the source of every disease in the body. There is always an imbalance in your digestive system. Handle that in your gut, everything else will be handled.
I love that. Thank you for making it so simple and so powerful, because those are such easy steps that any of us can do. With the exception of maybe people who really have a hard time accessing fresh food, which is a passion of mine that I want to help change in some way. But for the most part, we can eat simple, fresh food, get outside, get your feet on the earth, do an act of kindness, love yourself and love others. And like you said, there's so much information circulating out there. And for years, I was trapped in this as well, trying to figure out what's the right diet, what's the right supplements, this, that, and the other thing. And they're always going back and forth and arguing with each other and making it so complicated, but it's not.
It's not. Animals, they don't have nutritionists. They're much healthier than we are.
Yes.
We get given the animal kingdom all the time. So are they smarter than us, or are they just more in tune than we are with themselves? We're confused about what to eat. Animals don't have to think about what to eat. They know what to eat. It's inherent within them. We've forgotten that because of the world that we live in. So we just need to make it simple again.
Right. Okay. So I would love if you could share about Unified Healing Network and what your vision is with that.
Okay. Well, that vision already came to fruition. It will continue, but the idea is, how do we get as many people to be able to heal themselves in an affordable and accessible way? That's where Unified Healing came in. It's a network of wellness centers that exclusively have the energy enhancement system technology in their center. So the centers may have other modalities as well, but every center on the network has the energy enhancement system technology there no matter what. The idea was to bring this technology all around the world in a more affordable and a more accessible way than it is to buy it for your own private home. Although if you have the funds, by all means. We made a rule with Unified Healing in the network. No center is allowed to charge more than $60 per hour per person. There are some centers that are charging $20 per hour per person. And there are some people that are doing 300 hours with stage 4 of crazy ailments and really seeing reversals. That's what's going on. The testimonial section speaks for itself with videos that people are sending in. So the vision is already come to fruition. Now it's just a matter of making it even stronger, but we're nearly 500 centers strong in just 2 years of starting and in about 55 countries. So it's pretty awesome.
That's amazing. Have you come up against any resistance from the powers that be that wouldn't want this technology getting out there?
I'm just going to say yes, but I can't give details. But yes, 3-letter agencies have factors.
I understand. So let's see. What are your plans for continuing to make the EE system more and more accessible? You've already done some incredible things.
Yeah, we have something called the Helping Hand Program. The Helping Hand Program is a discount on the technology for countries that may not be able to afford it because they're not as fortunate as other countries, or at least the vast amount of their population is not. So on unifiedhealing.com, you can actually learn more about the Helping Hand Program under Open a Center. And it will show you the entire list of countries that are eligible. There are many countries around the world now that are eligible, but EE System is giving huge discounts to be able to get that technology to those countries. And I believe that's why we got to so many countries so quickly, because they really take everybody into consideration. So, not everybody is like everybody else. Not everybody is at the same level or status as everybody else. And first and foremost, we need to make sure that everybody has this technology. So there are donations being done to schools, to individuals in need, to different places in need around the world. And there are discounts being given at very affordable rates relative to the price of the technology to help other countries bring these centers to their countries. And ultimately, I know a lot of people want this for their own home. My personal goal is, yes, do that. But if you're already going to buy it and you can only afford one, buy it and open a center so you can use it for yourself and offer it to others and have a business that can help you thrive and others thrive as well. Make sure you never take advantage of people. And we make sure to go through a very robust vetting process before accepting somebody that wants to open a center. We have declined over 800 people who wanted to open. We do not accept everybody. We want to make sure that we're working with the right people and that the proper energy and the collective of this community and this mission is held extremely clean.
I love that. Yeah. One thing I remember seeing is that, I don't know if it was on your Instagram or where it was now, that you put a center in, I believe it was a temple in India, so that people could come just walk in and experience it for free.
Yes, that's an ashram in India in a place called Tirupati, India.
That's beautiful. Things like that are just so exciting.
It's awesome. And we want to do that all around the world. And there's a lot happening behind the scenes right now in terms of logistics, and just, it's a lot of work with a big team of between EE System and Unified Healing, up to 50 people that are working the whole operation. And that's not including, center owners. Of course, they don't work for EE System. They are their own independent individuals, but I consider them a part of our team. We're all part of the same team. And if you want to look at it that way, you're talking about thousands of people that are just operating this network.
Right.
Yeah.
And how do you see this entire network and all the healing that's coming from it? How do you see it influencing the spiritual health of our planets? I mean, it seems to me that something like this, that's healing people's on a physical level, putting them into a position where it would be easier for them to awaken spiritually, would be a huge, profound thing.
There are many stories that people share of that. I always say, forget about what I have to say. Go to the website and check it out yourself. On unifiedhealing.com, there's a testimonials tab. And I did something because of my own skepticism. It's not just text testimonials, because God knows who wrote those. I'm not saying that what's real and not real, but technically, if I were the skeptic, I would not believe a text testimonial. I want to see people. So we have a whole videos testimonial section of people that explain their own situations and what they've experienced. And you can actually break through and find videos according to keywords, one being spirituality, another one being digestion, another one being stress, sleep, hair growth, skin, whatever it may be, whatever you can think of, there's a keyword for it already there. And again, I can give you endless stories of people having incredible experiences, but I love when people hear it from themselves in their own way. And that's what the videos are really intended to do.
Could you share with us some of the most profound testimonials that you've heard?
Just recently, there was a man with diabetes, over 100 pounds overweight. In 1 year, he did the technology once a week, every week for 2 hours a week. I forgot where he was from, but I was watching this one myself. And he lost over 100 pounds. He is no longer diabetic.
Amazing.
Another example is an autistic kid. His mother said he's nonverbal. He's always running all over the place, has way too much energy, doesn't know how to control any of it. Within a few hours, the kid was saying his ABCs for the first time ever coherently. And he was calm. He wasn't running around. He wasn't doing anything. There was a woman with stage 4 cancer. Or better yet, there was a woman that went blind for 5 years. She was blind. She went in for, I forgot how many hours, not a crazy amount of hours. She can see again right now. That's unheard of. Just recently, there was somebody from India, actually, that went and did 80 hours in a 24-unit system. And what he was experiencing, I forgot the exact name of the disease, but the doctors were saying, you're going blind, You're not going to be able to see within a few months. We're going to need to do the surgery. There's a 50% fail rate, but we don't have anything better for you. He went, he did 80 hours, he came back, everything was gone. The doctors didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to do.
Amazing.
So that's a few of many. You know, there are funny ones like a veteran that sent in a video of how he no longer has erectile dysfunction. He was like 80 years old. That was a very funny one, you know? So there's funny ones, there's insane ones, there's ones that will make you cry. Tons and tons of experiences and testimonials that people have to share. And that to me is the most important, because I could show you all the science I want. I could tell you how it works. Who cares? Does it translate? Who cares what the study says? Does it really translate? Because you can falsify a study. You can, manipulate certain information on a study. They do it all the time to show why something is good or why something is bad. You cannot fake tens of thousands of people coming with videos from all around the world and sharing the experiences that they share. That to me is priceless.
Right. Absolutely. And then, like you mentioned in the beginning, the testimonials from animals also, which rules out the placebo effect.
Yeah, and there are many of those on the website as well.
I remember hearing in another interview that you did that somebody had actually taken a test to show that she had shaved years, like she had aged backwards.
So they call those telomeres. Mm-hmm. And as they shorten, you age. If you can lengthen them, that's literal age reversal. She reversed in the length of her telomeres by 23 years, from 54 to 31.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. I follow some doctors, or a specific doctor who works in the field of longevity and decreasing aging. And she ran a study with like diet and lifestyle factors, and people were able to reduce their biological age by maybe 5 years. Yep. 23 years is incredible.
23 I've never heard. And they're doing a big study on that right now to show across multiple different individuals what the averages are.
I'll be watching for the results of that study.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
You mentioned that you're wanting to break free from the medical mafia. I would love to hear more about that, because right now we have a monopoly in the West with the medical system really controlling what people have access to. And at the same time, medical care is so far out of so many people's price range. It's just not a good situation.
Not only it's out of people's price range, it's also not necessarily helping.
Right.
And it may be hurting and causing issues. So I will speak more vaguely on this front for obvious reasons, but yeah, there are people with interests that own many different, not just organizations and corporations, but industries and sectors around the world that want to control, and they will do things in their best interest and their own selfish interests to take advantage of individuals, so long as they are benefiting off of it themselves. So right now, with what we're seeing in the medical system, there's a lot of issues. The very fact that there's only 3 ways to go about cancer: chemo, radiation, and surgery are the only 3 ways that you're legally allowed to go about it. Well, if it was so good, then why is cancer higher now than it was 50 years ago when we still had those 3 ways? If we were advancing, why are more people sick now than they were 50 years ago or 100 years ago? Are there advancements in the medical system? 100%. You can't take that away from them. They are geniuses at what they do. Antibiotics have saved many lives. What I'm trying to say is that it is completely out of proportion. People have forgotten that that is a resort, but a last resort, not the first thing you go to. You know, just like on the iPhone, there's an app for that. People in the medical system just say there's a pill for that. This is what we're going to do. There's a book called the PDR. Every year it comes out. It's called the Physician's Desk Reference. So there's 2017, 2018, 2019. Every year a new one comes out. If you open the Physician's Desk Reference, it's literally a dictionary, essentially, that you look up what disease are you dealing with. It's like 3,000 pages. What disease are you dealing with? What drugs should you give? So it's basically a drug dealer's manual, a legal drug dealer's manual. That's what they've done to our doctors. That's what they've done to our medical system. And that's what needs to change. It's not that complex. Disease is energetic imbalance. Health is energetic balance. Find ways to balance energy in the body. You will overcome the disease. Don't fight the disease because the disease is not the problem. Change the environment that allowed the disease to exist in the first place. If you change the environment that allowed the disease to exist in the first place, the disease can no longer exist. You don't have to kill the disease. You just have to change the environment that allowed it to exist in the first place, thus starving it of its own existence. This is what the medical system doesn't tell you. And this is what people get killed for sharing, because it takes a lot of money and power away from the medical system. That's why we are a threat to the current establishment, because there will come a day where that establishment crumbles. And this new way, which is really an ancient way of understanding and teaching and helping people remember their own power, will take over once again.
So where can somebody go to find a center near them?
UnifiedHealing.com is where you can find a center near you. You can also go to eesystem.com to learn more about the technology. You can also buy those medallions, like the necklaces that we were talking about, the bracelets that we were talking about, and you can even consider getting the technology for your own home. But again, try to open a center if you can. Make this affordable and accessible to all. The bigger this gets, the harder it is to stop. That's the idea of what we're doing here, and that's why it needs to be everywhere fast. So again, UnifiedHealing.com, spelled UNIFYD, healing.com, or eesystem.com to learn more about the technology and have a good time doing so.
Would you like to share a little bit more about your other network, Unified TV?
Sure. In short, it is a media streaming platform. It's a video streaming platform. We have a lot of shows that cover really, really interesting topics. Things with ex-CIA agents that are talking about declassified documents and giving the actual details of each case, all the way to individuals that are undercover working at certain agencies that are sharing certain experiences that they've had on a first-hand basis to really blow the whistle on a lot of things that people are not aware of, all the way to weekly and in some cases daily meditations, activations, workshops to help you better yourself and live a better life. So beyond just a video streaming platform, it really is a movement. It's a movement that everybody can be a part of just by becoming a member of something like that. And those memberships, which are donations, by the way, it's a nonprofit organization, is how we continue moving forward. It's how we fund the platform. It's how we fund all the projects that we do at this point on not just a daily basis, but an hourly basis. And it's how we continue moving forward to ultimately change the world through awareness. So that's what Unified TV is. And if anybody wants to learn more about that, they can go to unified.tv, UNIFYD.tv, or just download the app, available everywhere on all smartphones and smart TVs. Become a member and start streaming. Enjoy it.
Wonderful. Thank you. One question that I would like to ask you on a personal level.
Yeah.
You have started both of these networks in the past several years and grown them incredibly quickly.
Yep.
There's a lot of people on the planet right now who have big dreams, big goals, things they'd like to do to change the world. But so many people feel trapped in the 9 to 5 or a disbelief that they could actually make a difference or that the world could change. What advice do you have to people to actually fulfilling their purpose?
Start working 6 to 8. So if you're working 9 to 5, that's fine. You can't get rid of that. There's no problem with that either. If you work 6 to 8, the remaining hours of those 24 hours, you'll be able to break out of the 9 to 5. You're going to have to put hard work in. You're going to have to put effort in. You're going to have to sleep less. You're going to have to sacrifice certain things, ultimately leading to what you want to do. And that changes for every single one of us, one way or another. But whatever your mission is, stop waiting for somebody else to do it. Start working your ass off. And if you can do that, things will change. You can't just sit there, have an intention, and wait for the universe to show you something without you taking action. You can have an intention, which will start everything. But without action, your intention is basically worthless. Ultimately, if you want to make a change, if you want to make a change in your life and the world as a whole and help catalyze this collective process of reaching a higher place, spiritually speaking, in many different ways, you got to take action. It's not just about waiting for something. Take action, speak up, do something about it, no matter how big or small, and allow those actions to open new doors.
Wonderful. And my final question, What do you think is necessary for us to transform the earth as quickly and painlessly as possible so that we can be living here in peace and harmony and support of each other?
Don't be afraid to die. Lose the fear on anything that you do. If you want to change the world in the level that it's at right now, there are risks involved. Because to bring the world that you just spoke about, certain powers that be will have to fall. They're not going to do that without a fight. If you're afraid of what's going to happen because you speak up or share or do things differently, well, it's only going to take you so far. We're all connected. Just like you live this life, you've lived the past one, you will live a future one. Don't be reckless. Do what's necessary. Keep moving forward. Love others. Treat others with respect, even the people that treat you like trash. Treat them with respect. Don't speak poorly of others, even though you may think poorly of others. Don't speak poorly of anybody, and you keep moving in the way that you want to see everybody else moving. If you can hold that energy, other individuals will radiate with that and synchronize with that energy as well. You need to be a leader by example and not just this leader in philosophy.
I love that. Jason, thank you so much for being willing to have this conversation, for all the work you're doing, and for being willing to share. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the viewers about where they can find you or anything else that you have going on?
I really just want to say thank you to you for hosting this podcast and this interview. I had a great time. Thank you very much for bringing this and doing the work that you're doing to help bring this to the world as well. If anybody does want to find me, you could just type my name in on Google. You'll find all the links accordingly on all the platforms. And whatever you're meant to follow, you will. And whatever you're not, you won't. And it's beautiful either way. So again, Melissa, thank you very much for the work that you're doing. Keep it up and don't stop no matter what comes your way.
Thank you so much. And right back at you. And I will have Jason's links in the description. So go check those out.
Thank you for watching and listening. Your views, likes, comments, and shares truly make the biggest difference in supporting this channel. Don't forget to check the show notes for all the links to today's guest, as well as my links. You'll find me on social media at Love Covered Life, my website, lovecoveredlife.com, and the Be a Guest link for anybody who would like to be a guest on the channel. I have great news. Love Covered Life podcast is coming available on audio podcast. You can find it wherever you listen to your audio podcasts.